Napoleon Bonaparte remains one of history's most fascinating and polarizing figures. Born on the small island of Corsica in 1769, he rose from relative obscurity to become the Emperor of France and one of the most influential military commanders in history. His ambition and strategic brilliance allowed him to reshape Europe, yet it was his hubris and quest for absolute power that ultimately led to his downfall. Napoleon's life is a paradox of greatness and tragedy, characterized by military triumphs and political reforms that have endured, as well as overreach and mistakes that ended in his exile. Throughout his life, Napoleon was known for his stirring speeches, compelling leadership, and profound reflections on war, power, and governance. His quotes, many of which are still quoted today, offer invaluable insight into his complex character and worldview. Napoleon Bonaparte was born on August 15, 1769, in Ajaccio, Corsica, just a year after the island was ceded to France by the Republic of Genoa. His family, though noble, was not wealthy, and Napoleon's early life was marked by financial struggles. His parents, Carlo and Letizia Bonaparte, ensured that their son received a good education, and at the age of 9, Napoleon was sent to mainland France for military training. He attended the Royal Military School in Brienne, where he developed a deep interest in mathematics and artillery. Napoleon's ambition and determination were apparent early on, and he constantly sought to prove his worth. He had little connection to the aristocracy and was often mocked by his peers for his Corsican accent and outsider status. Nevertheless, his academic and military talents, combined with his fierce drive, propelled him through the ranks of the French army during the chaos of the French Revolution. Napoleon's early career was shaped by the Revolutionary Wars that broke out after the French Revolution of 1789. His skill at organizing troops, innovative use of artillery, and ability to win battles earned him a reputation as a rising star in the French military. In 1796, he was given command of the French army in Italy, where his leadership and tactical brilliance shone through. His successes there, particularly at the Battle of Lodi, gained him widespread acclaim. At a time when the French government was unstable, Napoleon's success on the battlefield led him to political prominence. His coup in 1799, which overthrew the French Directory, marked the beginning of his political career. By 1804, he declared himself Emperor of the French, a move that shocked Europe and began his imperial reign. Reflecting on his early rise, Napoleon famously stated, "The strong man is the one who is able to transform his ideas into reality." This quote encapsulates his belief that destiny was shaped by the individual's willpower, and his ability to turn his military successes into political power was a testament to this philosophy. Napoleon's military career is legendary. He is often regarded as one of the greatest military tacticians and strategists in history. His ability to outmaneuver opponents and achieve swift victories was unmatched. His approach to warfare was deeply innovative, relying on speed, surprise, and flexibility. Napoleon understood the importance of morale and often used psychological tactics to weaken his enemies before battle even began. Napoleon's most famous campaigns, the Italian campaigns, the Egyptian campaign, and the Napoleonic Wars, highlight his ability to adapt to and exploit the weaknesses of his enemies. His leadership in the Battle of Austerlitz in 1805 is often cited as his greatest military triumph. Known as the Battle of the Three Emperors, it was a decisive victory against Russian and Austrian forces that established Napoleon as the dominant power in Europe. Following this victory, he remarked, "The battlefield is a school of the most important lessons in life, a reflection on how war taught him not just military tactics, but deep lessons about leadership, human nature, and decision-making." Napoleon's strategic innovations, particularly his use of the corps system, allowed him to maintain control over large armies and respond quickly to changing battlefield conditions. This decentralized structure meant that each corps was self-sufficient, allowing for greater flexibility and the ability to concentrate forces where needed. His ability to read the battlefield and anticipate the movements of his enemies was unparalleled. Napoleon was also a master of logistics, understanding that the success of an army depended as much on the supply lines as on the soldiers themselves. His famous quote, "A soldier will fight long and hard for a bit of colored ribbon," speaks to his insight into human nature and his ability to inspire and motivate his troops through rewards, honors, and recognition. In 1804, Napoleon crowned himself Emperor of the French in a ceremony at Notre Dame Cathedral in Paris. This dramatic act of self-coronation was a powerful assertion of his authority and marked a departure from the French monarchy, where the king was crowned by the Pope. Napoleon's coronation symbolized his belief that his power was derived not from divine right, but from his own ability to shape the future. As emperor, Napoleon was both a reformer and a consolidator of power. One of his most enduring legacies is the Napoleonic Code, a set of civil laws that reformed the French legal system. The code abolished feudal privileges and codified laws regarding property, civil rights, and family law, ensuring legal equality for all men, regardless of social class. Napoleon believed that law was the foundation of social order, famously stating, "Law is the public conscience." Beyond legal reforms, Napoleon sought to modernize France's infrastructure and economy. He established the Bank of France to stabilize the currency and create financial order after the chaos of the Revolution. His administrative reforms centralized the French government, creating a highly efficient and hierarchical state. These policies helped secure Napoleon's hold on power and laid the groundwork for many modern state systems. Despite his many reforms, Napoleon's rule grew increasingly autocratic. He centralized power in the hands of the state and suppressed opposition. His extensive use of secret police, censorship, and control over the press led many to view him as a dictator. His famous proclamation, "I am the state," reflects his belief that the ruler and the state were one and the same. In this sense, Napoleon's reign was paradoxical. While he promoted the values of the French Revolution, liberty, equality, and fraternity, he simultaneously dismantled the democratic institutions that the revolution had created. The Napoleonic Wars, 1803-1815, were a series of conflicts in which Napoleon sought to expand the French Empire and establish French hegemony in Europe. These wars involved most of Europe and were fought between France, under Napoleon's rule, and various coalitions of European powers. Napoleon's military genius and the loyalty of his troops allowed him to achieve remarkable victories. His Battle of Austerlitz, 1805, the Battle of Jena Auerstedt, 1806, and his victory at Wagram, 1809, established him as the dominant military force in Europe. His forces swept through Europe, defeating Austria, Prussia, Russia, and Spain, among others. By 1812, his empire stretched from Spain to Russia, and he was the uncontested ruler of much of Europe. Yet, Napoleon's ambition led to overreach. In 1812, he launched an ill-fated invasion of Russia, a campaign that would prove to be one of his most disastrous. The brutal Russian winter, combined with the scorched earth tactics employed by the Russian army, decimated the Grand Army. Of the 600,000 men who entered Russia, fewer than 100,000 returned. Napoleon himself would later reflect on the failure of the campaign, stating, "Impossible is a word to be found only in the dictionary of fools." This statement encapsulated his unyielding belief in his own ability to overcome any obstacle, even as his army was crushed by a force far beyond his control. Napoleon's downfall began after the Russian campaign. The Battle of Leipzig in 1813, also known as the Battle of Nations, saw Napoleon defeated by a coalition of European powers. In 1814, with his empire crumbling, Napoleon was forced to abdicate and was exiled to the island of Elba in the Mediterranean. However, Napoleon's sense of destiny and refusal to accept defeat led to his dramatic return to France in 1815, during the period known as the 100 Days. Despite his brief resurgence, Napoleon was decisively defeated at the Battle of Waterloo in June 1815 by a coalition army led by the Duke of Wellington and Prussian General Gebhard Leberecht von Blücher. His defeat at Waterloo ended his reign, and he was exiled once again, this time to the remote island of St. Helena in the South Atlantic, where he spent the last years of his life. In the face of defeat, Napoleon's reflections were deeply philosophical. He once remarked, "Victory is the most important thing in life, and I am convinced that I have won by never giving up." This quote speaks to his relentless drive and unwillingness to accept anything less than total success. Yet, his ultimate failure at Waterloo would be a tragic reminder of the limits of his ambition. Napoleon Bonaparte was a figure of unparalleled genius, ambition, and complexity. His military triumphs and visionary reforms reshaped France and Europe in profound ways. However, his unchecked ambition, his constant drive for power, and his eventual overreach led to his tragic downfall. His quotes reflect his extraordinary vision, his belief in his own ability to shape history, and his relentless pursuit of greatness. History is the version of past events that people have decided to agree upon, Napoleon once remarked, and his legacy, marked by both adulation and condemnation, continues to be shaped by history's judgments. The man who once conquered much of Europe and redefined warfare is also the man whose ambition led him into exile and obscurity. Napoleon's life and words remain a study of brilliance, hubris, and the fragile nature of power. All right, that's all for today's video. I hope you found it interesting and learned something new. If you did, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't already. It really helps the channel grow. Thank you.